At trade fairs and on social media, we've often been asked if our awning can also be mounted on the VW T5 T6 California, and we can now answer that question with a yes. Today I'll show you how this installation is done and what the whole thing looks like when it's set up. In the first step, I'd like to show you what's included in the delivery and what tools you'll need to mount the awning on your VW California. First of all, the bundle naturally includes our awning. This is the 180-degree awning at 2.50 meters in length. This will then be mounted on the vehicle at the end. For the bracket, there are 4 pieces that are mounted on the vehicle and the corresponding screws with T-nuts. The tools themselves are relatively simple. 2 wrenches, a 10 and a 13, and a 4mm Allen key and a step ladder so you can reach the mounting position easily without overstretching. For the installation, it's also always recommended to have a second person help you, especially during the final step when the awning is held against the bracket and screwed on. So first we're going to mount our bracket. Let's start at the back and take the lower part of the bracket, placing it on the mounting points that are there from the factory. To screw it on for now, we'll take our panhead screws. These are M6. And just start them very lightly so that the bracket is fixed for now, but still very flexible. Then we'll get the second part of the bracket and also our T-nuts. We now slide the T-nuts into the C-rail from the back and try to push them with the Allen key so that they lie behind the slotted holes of the lower bracket. So that should be good now. To attach the upper part of the bracket, we have our 2 hexagonal screws here. That means place the upper bracket on top, guide the hexagonal screws through the slotted holes, and then, of course, into the threads of the T-nuts. And then we take our 10mm wrench and screw the whole thing together. Finally, for the rear bracket, tighten the panhead screws at the top. That completes the rear bracket installation, and we'll move to the front to attach the front part of the bracket. Same procedure as in the back, and finally, please check again if all screws are tightened securely. If you want to be on the safe side, you can also use thread locker to ensure it holds rock solid. To make the screws accessible, you first have to unfold the awning while it's still unmounted. To do this, take the 2 left arms and open them up. It's important to hold on tight here, of course. And then you can see 4 screw heads right here. We're going to loosen those now in order to replace them. It's important to get a second person to help here so that someone can hold the whole thing. That's why I'm asking my colleague Mishi to join me. Mishi, please hold the arm open here. Now the included screws are out along with the corresponding cap nuts, and we're replacing them, and we're using the longer panhead screws right here, which are a bit sturdier. It's important not to put the nut on the back yet, because this screw will eventually be placed on the bracket. Now the awning can be closed again so that we can then mount it onto the bracket. Now we still need to get to the back of the awning. To do that, just lift the whole thing up briefly. My pro tip here, briefly put the nuts onto the screws we just replaced so they definitely can't fall back into the awning. And then we insert our hex head screws at the front or on the right side of the awning, and those will then be used for fastening it in the front bracket. 2 pieces each into the upper and lower grooves. The nuts can be removed from the front screws. And now you get the second person again to screw the awning onto the bracket. Let's do it one by one first. Then I'll start by positioning it here, the awning. Now we'll go ahead and put a nut on it just like we did before. So the whole thing stays in position for now. Before we go ahead and screw it down tightly just to be sure. In order to properly screw the rear part of the awning, you have to open the awning once again so that both the nut on the back and the screw head are freely accessible to fix the whole thing firmly. Now the awning is unfolded. What we're going to do now as a final step is to tension the awning. And for that, we're using the guy ropes that were included. They're in the box that the awning comes in, hooked in ones. Pulled open. It's important then to look for an anchor point. I'll use the mirror here as a temporary anchor. I can hook the carabiner back in here to secure it. You can also look for something in the surroundings, whether it's a tree or another anchor point, or even look on the vehicle itself, and then use the ratchet to add tension and properly extend the arm. Do the same thing for the back side. And use the ratchet to tighten it again. And that's how the awning is finally set up.